morning, dear listeners of Amam Radio. Welcome to our weekly live show. Today, we will be talking about spiritual beliefs in Africa. As Africans, should we believe in our spirituality or in a monotheist God? Do we have to choose what is best, actually? To discuss this today in the studio, we are myself, Regine, Lorraine, and Thomas, and we hope that you enjoy it. And so, good morning, Thomas.
Good morning, Regine.
Welcome to the studio.
Yeah, I'm happy, I'm enlightened to be here with you this morning. It's very, very interesting. And to the viewers, I hope you're going to enjoy the show.
Sure. Hi, Lorraine. How about you?
Hi, Regine. Good morning. Good morning, Thomas. Nice meeting you. And good morning to our dear listeners. It is an absolute pleasure to be here. So thank you for inviting me. And I hope you listeners will enjoy this show.
Sure, we hope so. It is a topic that we live with as Africans. We grow up in societies where spirituality were brought to us in a different way. In one part, we have our ancestral beliefs, which we found that when we come to life with our grandfathers talking to us about what they used to do in the past, and then we discover a new spirituality, a monotheist spirituality, which was either Jesus or Muhammad or any other religions. And today in Africa, we have those mushrooms of a lot of churches, and we are kind of lost. And Thomas today is very much passionate about that aspect of our lives in Africa. Can you elaborate on that, Thomas?
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Yes, I stand on the fact because when we're talking about spirituality, we can mix spirituality with Christianity. You can't tell us that with our forefathers, there wasn't any spirituality, there wasn't any religion. They have their beliefs, and that beliefs is our spirituality, is our culture, is the religion. Now, because in Africa we have these mixed feelings. This religion was brought to us, and everything directing to this religion, I haven't seen anywhere in the Bible where Africa is mentioned. When Paul was writing the letters to the Corinth, he was precisely presenting this information to the Corinth, not to the Africans. I don't see how this religion have to concern Africans. We have to go back to our roots. We have to search our roots to find out the truth, to know our history. Every history that has been written by someone else, the person doesn't know anything about you. He's viewing you in a very long distance and just tell you what he thinks. That's his opinion. And now I want us today to go very deep and to understand that Africans, we do have our beliefs, which has been there with our ancestors, and it's been passing on time and again until around 2,000 years ago.
I hear you. It is very strong argument that you defend. But on the other hand, there are people we are Christian as well. When we at the beginning of this show, we mentioned that we believe in Jesus, for example. And I want you, Lorraine, to jump in maybe to kind of say something about that fact of society. Do we remain ancestral, or do we accept Jesus as well?
I think first and foremost, we need to define what we understand by spirituality. We need to know, we need to make sure that we're all on the same page. So I'm first asking you the question, what is the definition of spirituality? What do you understand by spirituality?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Spirituality is the ability to connect oneself in another form that is not physical. That is calling for someone to intersect, to intercede, to help, to defend, and to keep you clean. That's what the spiritual awareness is all about. So you're calling for somebody, you believe like you can make mistakes, like you need help, like you're lost. You're calling for somebody to guide you. Now it's not like an advice that somebody gives you physically. That's now in the spiritual realm. You need to be spiritually strong, because The body lives both physical and spiritual.
Something invisible.
Yes, something invisible, something you can only feel,
Yeah.
but you can't touch.
So, Lorraine.
So, when you say it's the fact that we have the ability of calling on someone, to request for advice and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not sure I understand very well actually, in the sense that someone, is it a person alive or a person that can have passed away for decades, if not centuries? Or can you elaborate a bit more?
Well, when we talk about, yes, we are calling on somebody that we believe died protecting us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody who died protecting you. And the only person who can die protecting you, I believe it is your parents. They are the only person who can decide to die for you to live. And who are you calling to intercede for you? Because in Africa, we believe that there's a traditional lineage which interacts with our spirituality. So when we are calling these names, like in my family, I am coming from, we call the family very big. It's a younger family. When I want to pray, I always pray to the spirituality. That's the God of that family.
Yes.
To the younger family, I will start to call for my grandfathers to intercede into me.
Let me jump in that, because what you said is actually very much relevant. We, as an introduction, let's talk about the fact that many Africans now are Christian. That means that they believe in Jesus Christ. So we go to church, for example, for Christian, and they pray to, for example, Saint Thomas or Saint Paul or Saint Andreas. Who are Saint Andreas? Who is Saint Andreas? And Saint Andreas was a man who lived in a family. As we say, we know that the representation of Saint Thomas is someone who is out of Africa. It probably has white features, so it's not related to you as an African, that you know he might maybe be African of a white color, but it's very much unlikely. So let's say me as a Catholic, I go to church and I start praying Saint Thomas. Saint Thomas, please come and help me. Am I now? Your explanation of spirituality means that Saint Thomas will never listen to me actually, because he doesn't belong to my lineage. The guy doesn't know me. I don't know you. I've never met. I don't know who is that. So my prayer is just lost. I rather pray to someone who has the same blood as man. That's what you're saying actually.
Yes, yes.
If I just may, not only I agree with you based on the definition that Thomas has given, okay, but also the other question that I would ask is, how can you praise someone who's already dead? That's the question. I mean, I don't know. I've already attended funerals, for example.
Yes.
You would speak to the dead, the person would never answer, and
Yes.
thank God, because if somebody answers and they passed away, I would be the first one to run away, probably. So it's like,
Yeah, that's a very important question. It's the same thing. We pray to the Holy Maria, we pray to Jesus, they all passed away. So we're just reversing, it's the same thing. Our ancestors all passed away, and if we are praying to them, it's the same thing. What I'm trying to say here is the religion is all about a culture present to a particular people, with particular group of people. It doesn't concern our African beliefs and our spirituality. There's nothing in the Bible. When the Bible is talking about the Jews, it's talking about presenting their culture, presenting their mood of life, their dressing, everything they do. And when the Jews have to go out of the spirituality, the way they were brought up by their forefathers, they started having this plague, and they started having difficulties. They need someone to intercede into them. And this is where you have these people, they call them the religious leaders. They start to write letters to them, tell them what they have to do, what they have missed, what they have to come back to search for this lineage that I'm trying to say. That's the same thing from us. Now, this thing was introduced to Africans. It means before then, what were our belief? Were we pagans? Were we Satans? Were we evil?
It is because what you said, it is so important, so true, so deeply logical, because yes, when you read the Bible, actually apostles are talking to a particular group of people. Now, the new religions, when missionaries come to Africa, when they started spreading the word of Jesus, they were saying that there is no color into religion, that actually the Jews were talking to the entire humanity. So that's how they managed to penetrate. When they arrived then in Africa, they told to our ancestors, throw away whatever you believe in because it's evil, it's not good. And what I'm trying to elaborate there here is that I am also kind of passionate about the history of Egypt, ancient Egypt, where it has been found that a lot of prayers, a lot of ways of manifesting Christianity is actually taken a lot from what was happening in ancient Egypt. And now historians are telling us that ancient Egypt is actually African. It is actually Africa. That's actually what used to belong to Africa is now being turned around and being presented as Christianity. Now I want to put on the table: is it actually the same thing? If we believe that Egypt was Africa and that Christianity has stolen from Egypt, maybe we are just talking about the same thing.
No, there is, to me, that is a mix-up story because they have to make it to fit the Africans. They have to make Africans to have a belief somewhere that they also have a part to play in this religion. Um, Religion was brought by a group. To me, I say it's more political than spirituality. It was brought to African by some group of people who were politicians who want to change a narrative in order to conquer and control. Now, if someone have to conquer you, first of all, the thing they have to do is they have to control what you think, what you have to say, and what you have to believe. And one of the things there, when they arrive in Africa, they realize our spirituality was too strong. And you can't conquer this kind of people without destroying their spirituality. Now they have to tell, how can your father and your parent grow you up till you become of age, and someone, a stranger, just come and tell you your parents are evil? Are you going to believe that? If they were evil, they could be harmful to you. So if you come, you have to condemn in order to give me what is right. I don't see that, because if you are teaching something which is pure and you said it is natural, it is coming from God, you have to give the proof. But everything circle around religion is all about belief. And I'm going to ask you a question about this belief.
Actually, if I may interrupt you, so if I follow your logic, okay, you are saying that it is because the spirituality of African people was so strong that whoever came and conquered Africa had to override it with another spirituality. Is that what you're claiming? Or not?
Yes, yes.
So that means basically, again, I'm following your logic. Okay, so you stop me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
That means the spirituality of African people was not so strong because they managed to override it with something else.
It was strong. There, I'm going to tell you how they do. This everything was circled around the period of slavery, and these people were trying to see. It's just like saying I did something bad to you, and I have to apologize, and I can't stand in front of you and tell you I'm sorry, and I have to bring another means to make you know I'm sorry. Go into the Bible. It is written there. Who I want to ask you a question. If you see someone who raped your child, might be at age 4, and the person comes to ask for forgiveness, are you going to forgive that person, or you're going for justice?
I think it depends on the person, actually.
That's why I'm asking you, because you're a person.
Okay. If it's for me, I am Christian, so I would rather forgive the person, but it wouldn't stop me from denouncing. So it would prevent him or the actual person who raped my child from reoccurrence, actually.
If everyone have to go through this forgiveness, no justice, are you not seeing something like it's going to aggravate? Everyone will say that, no, I can do it and I will have forgiveness.
No. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I would forgive, but it wouldn't stop me from denouncing.
Oh, okay.
Name and shame.
Okay,
so everyone is aware that this person is a predator.
Which means are you going to use to denounce?
So speaking out the means that I have at that very moment. Speaking out, newspapers, I don't know.
Yeah, speaking out.
I mean, I will be
You
reaching out to people so
people,
they know.
how many people care to know about that? But do you know if someone is punished, do you know you put some fear into others that if you do this, you will be punishable by the law?
Are you saying that Christians don't believe to justice? That don't go to the law? That they don't go to seeking justice? What are you trying to denounce?
Yes, they made us to accept believing without fact. Because I'm going to ask just one question.
That's
Do
very
you?
important what you just said.
Yes,
Facts,
yes,
I mean, it
yes,
needs to be
yes.
proven that
Do
actually a
you?
rape has been done.
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
Do you believe you have two hands, or you know you have two hands?
I know I have two hands.
When you know, you don't need to believe. Everything that you believing is telling you not to look for the truth. Don't ask question.
Yeah.
Don't think. It blocks your mentality. That's why you see, I refer to somebody I love most, Lucky Joe. He said, there is something you have to you realize in your life. You have to, he said, he wasn't a preacher, he's cannot condemn, but he know love is his religion. I believe in love, and I believe in spirituality.
I think knowledge comes from believing. First you believe, and then you have the knowledge.
How
It is because you believe that you have two hands that you know that you have two hands.
No.
Okay. Do you have a brain?
I know I have a brain.
Okay. How do you know you have a brain?
Because I'm using the brain physically, and everyone, at least you can understand that I have a brain when I talk to you.
No, obviously, but
Yes.
I mean, in this case, it's not visible. That's why I chose the brain. Actually, it's like, have you ever seen your brain?
I've never seen my brain.
Thank you. So, do you believe you have a brain or not?
I know I have a brain. I don't believe I have a brain.
I understand what you're saying to my, and to
You
be
know,
honest with you,
but
I agree with
now
what
I
you
want
said.
to ask you:
Yes.
Is there a means that
Uh-huh.
that someone can see your brain? Is there a means that they can see your brain?
A brain surgeon.
Okay, which means you know that you have a brain.
Okay, so you're saying that actually you mentioning religion, because here we have maybe spirituality is something that belongs to us inside. Now we're talking here about religions. That's why you say it's a political thing. They brought religion to wash brain people, telling them that this is what you have to do if you want to go, let's say, to heaven. You have to do this, and then a man comes and decides to build a church and take some chapters, verses of the Bible and build his own church and saying to people, if you did this and this and this and that, without those people checking anything, going to fact, just believing blindly, even to the most illogical thing. To be honest with you, you make a good point there. You know, it got me thinking. But when we go back to our homes in Africa, and this is for Lorraine, and we have the dance of schools. You know, we have, apart from that, we have in our in for the Betty, we have that woman when she's
people is people from Cameroon.
From Cameroon, yes, people from Cameroon, from the central region. You have widows, or maybe not only of the Betty, you have widows who have to be dressed in a particular color for a year, and they have to remain a widow for a specific amount of time, so that they remain connected with their dead husband. And we have to, there are a lot of rituals that we are doing, and according to reports, there are things, invisible things that happen, and that are there. Don't you know about them?
But the invisible things that happen, I agree that the invisible things that happen is more in the spiritual world. That's absolutely no doubt for me, when it comes to that. But I think in Africa, what happens nowadays is that a lot of people are taking advantage of these situations. Now, you have spoken about the culture. Widows have to dress in a certain way. Like in some Indian cultures, if a woman has just lost her husband, there is, I think it's even in my culture, but we never did it. There is this ritual where you have to wash the widow. in other terms, washing means somebody has to sleep with the widow, basically, of the husband there and then, immediately after the funerals or whatsoever, you know. And it is considered as a culture. My question would be, says who? Why do we have to apply that? You know,
It is our culture.
I mean, people would say it's ancestral culture. My question again, says who? If I lose my husband tomorrow, why would I be obliged to sleep with his brothers or his sons? Or, I mean, what is this?
Well, there I will chip in something a little bit so you understand. This now you're not going with culture. This, like I told you, the Bible is where it was implemented by politicians. In the culture, there are also politicians. There are also people who comes in with laws that and those things now they are out of cultures. That's where they start to break. That's where you see spirituality start to fall, start to shed. Because when you start to put things, because something is guiding you spiritually, it's supposed to be holy, it's supposed to be clean. And when you start to mix things like that, that's where you see they say things fall apart and the center cannot hold. Now, when you want to do that incantation, it is not going to hold because, and even if that woman refuse to go for that cleansing, if you perform any type of spirituality, it's not going to work on that woman because she is taking the right track. She has.
Why does she have to do that in the first place?
She doesn't have to do. She doesn't have to do that. She has her own opinion. In every religion, in every culture,
Let me rephrase my question because I didn't phrase it properly.
Yeah.
Why is it in some cultures demanded that she does it?
Some cultures demand that because, let me tell you, in every culture there is always a bad.
Yeah, not
We
all
can
cultures
agree on
are
that
good.
at least.
Yes. Not all cultures are good actually.
So no, in every when we go to every village, you will see that there were some laws they put that were applicable to us that wasn't right. And now when we come to understand things as because when the era is changing, the reasonings is different. So when we come to realize that no, she has her free will. She's supposed to decide if I'm going to do this thing or I'm not going to do. And if I'm not going to do this thing, then it is your will. We have to leave it there.
Yeah.
But and there are things we don't even have to think about your will. There are things we're supposed to abolish. When the Europeans saw that slave trade wasn't good, it was not profitable for them, they have to abolish. So when we see that this thing is not good for us, we have to abolish. We don't even need to think about will. We need to abolish so it doesn't happen, it doesn't even exist.
So when the dogma, there's a lot of dogma into religions, you know, that believe blindly, don't think. You know, I'm telling you what to do, as we usually priests usually tell or told us when we were doing catechism. Do what I'm telling you to do, but don't do what I am doing. So we were blindly believing on anything that was told to us, even though we used to see really funny things, especially with Catholic priests who were not supposed to get married, but we knew all what they were doing. And we grew up with that, like, you know, okay, I'm not looking at the man, I'm looking at the God that is inside him. And that God, which is inside us, also exists in our, let's say, ancestral spiritual that you mentioned. Is it everything that is ancestral good?
Obviously, not everything that is ancestral that is good. That's why I talk about we have the good ones and we have the bad ones. And for the bad one, we abolish them. And for there are good ones that we know. Like I will quote an example. There's a village next to mine. In my village, next to my village, we are neighbors. They have this. It's a tradition, something they do spiritually. If you steal in that village you can leave your doors open and you go to wherever you want and you meet nobody touch anything. Immediately you take something from there, you have the effect immediately.
How? What will be the effect?
The effect is that you maybe have swollen stomach. It will be something that physical people can see. It's not something that you are going to die that is going to be surprised, like confusing. It's something that you're going to have swollen stomach or you have itching of the eyes, that until you have to speak. If you don't speak, that's how you will do, and you will die slowly like that because they have to give you time.
Doesn't mean confess.
You have to confess.
Okay.
So
And when you confess, they are going to do the spiritual cleansing to take it off from you.
There's a lot of unknown into spirituality, a lot of unknown, because there are people who believe in miracles. There are people who say that I've seen someone. There are people who say that I've been talking with someone while I am sleeping. There are people who see their dead parents. We cannot say it's not true. People don't just wake up in the morning and lying. There are also people who say they saw a man who's called Jesus, and they open churches, and people, and a lot of other people starting following them. What is happening with spirituality today is actually something of religion, because maybe we can touch on that before concluding this show. We have now a lot of those small churches everywhere in Africa, which are not spiritual. Do that spirituality still exist actually? Because you are here a great defender of someone who is probably very good, but who is actually doing it? Does it exist? Where?
The thing is, in spirituality, when you do the right thing, you're going to see the effect of it. I will tell you, the Chinese, they are not Christians, but they are the best in the world. The Russians,
What
the
do you mean
Indians,
by the best in the world?
economically developed, they are more developed.
That is debatable.
Yes,
I
yes.
think
So
that is debatable, but
yes, because we believe in Africa that this God is somebody who is going to do everything for us.
Yes.
This God is somebody who is going to bring the development.
Yes.
This God, that is the belief. But
but that
so
has a name.
so
It's false teaching.
yes. So now when that's why I'm quoting the Chinese, the Buddhists, the Hindus, the Arabs. Why? And I'm going to ask you a question. Why do we have same God? Different gods but different Satan. One Satan, sorry. We have one devil, different God.
Yeah.
But I don't agree. I don't agree. I'm sorry.
The devil is one. Everybody speaks about Satan.
Yeah.
But they have you have the Buddhas. They talk their own things. They have their own means of spirituality. But everyone is talking about one particular person. Can't you see there is something very fishy about this religion?
I would say it's more of manipulation, misuse of the purpose of Christianity. Now, I am speaking about Christianity, not religion, because I cannot speak about the other religions.
Mhm.
But I mean, if false teachings have been spreading around, like how do you call it? Mushrooms. Thank you. Mushrooms in Africa, and obviously if the false teaching has been spreading around, basically, people will have wrong doctrines and people will have wrong behaviors at the end of the day. You will have a lot of people that will call themselves Christians or believers of God, but actually, when you see the way they act, you wonder, really and truly. And I am remaining very diplomatic when I'm saying it's like really, you wonder, So
I want to say something, excuse me, Lorraine. I mean, because I'm following you to my lot, and everything that you're saying is only touching me a lot. What is happening today in Africa, that we have all those small religions everywhere, but they are all Christians. I mean, they are talking about the Bible, so they are giving a wrong teaching to a lot of people following them, promising heaven, money. We know young girls are going there because they want to get married, they want a job, they want to travel, they are becoming a factories of happiness, and factories of happiness using a God that was brought there by missionaries, and that was a false God, because missionaries, for them they impose Christianity to Africans, that we know that they were flocking, they were beaten, they were imprisonment. Our grandparents suffered. But now what you plan, I think, is that let it be a lot of religions all over the place.
Yes.
But let those religions be African spirituality. So if there are bad things there, at least they are still African. It is a African made thing, not that something brought from outside.
Yes, it has to be. It has to be the African way, and the African way have to go the right way, because we have the right ways for the African spirituality. First, this religion brought to us was forced into our forefathers, into our ancestors, because during slavery, they have a method they use. There is this, they'll make an iron and they place it here. You first of all, you can't speak to your wife. They keep you out of your wife, out of your children. So you can't speak the dialect. You can't speak your language. Now they have to first of all wipe that language away from you and give you another language that has already forgotten who you are. If you can't speak to their children, how are you going to pass on what you know? Those things, that's how they have to forget about all those things, all the spirituality and everything. And when they come to missionaries, what's the meaning of missionaries? They are on a mission, they have a purpose. That purpose, they have a target to convert these people. They are not coming there to tell you the truth because, first of all, I'm telling you, what somebody cannot be your enemy today. Somebody killed your father, threw them in the sea, and is coming tomorrow to tell you that there is a God that is watching in heaven. And don't bother. Just live your life. Forgive people. Even if they slap you here, tell the other side, let them slap you, eat it again. Who teaches, what kind of religion is that? What kind of, I don't get it.
I think we need to get back to the basics now.
All right.
If you want, again, that's why the very first question that I asked, you remember, what do you understand by spirituality? And in fact, my next question will be, what is your definition of religion? So we make sure we all have the same base and then we go from there. So when you say, for example, quoting the Bible, if somebody slaps you on the left cheek, you should just give the right cheek and then just forgive. Again, what is forgiveness? What are the limits? It's like we need to define all of these basically, and then we work on the same base.
Listen, yeah, we are talking.
And to be honest, if I just may finish, I think this is my personal opinion and my personal belief. I think that all of these religions and spiritualities, as you have said, is more as a how can I say? Like, again, I'm a Christian, so I would see things from that perspective. Okay, I would say this is originally coming from Christianity, but twisted, and as a result, we have all of these different beliefs. Even in Christianity, how come we have the Catholics and then the Protestants and then the
evangelists?
Celeste? How do you say this? Elise Celeste in French.
Okay,
I don't even know how to say it in English.
I don't know about
like,
that
how come? I think it's really
there's
all
division.
has one original root, in my opinion, which was Christianity, like the one God in which I believe, and the fact that it has been passed out to a lot of people by a lot of people. If I tell you something, for example, you would understand it in one way. Now, if I tell you pass on the message to other people, you would pass it on the way that you understood.
Yes.
Now, you wouldn't know the way they understood it.
Yeah.
So
Communication is not linear. Yeah, that's true.
So I think this is why I really believe that all of this is a result of twisting the original one, which is Christianity, which is why we have so many beliefs.
Yes, you're saying something. That's why I told you from the beginning that this religion it has a design purpose. That is why, because if you look from the creation of religion, I don't know if you ever did this research, but when you go, Catholics dissociate herself from the Orthodox. They have a lot of similarities. And before, they said the church was one. They call it Antioch. Antioch means oneness. Now, when the others, like those who dissociate from the Orthodox to form the Catholics, they saw the political agenda from Orthodox, from the creation of religion. And now, the tussle for power have to come because they saw the advantages and they wanted to have that advantages, and you can't give them that advantage. They switch from you and they form the Catholics. They realize it's not twisted. They realize that what you told me, I was your servant. But when I realized that what you are telling me, you putting me under bondage, under captivity, I was thinking that I'm holy. But I realized that we are not holy. What you were telling me is not true. There is no spirituality.
That is exactly
I have to
what
now
I'm
I have to
saying.
divert from you and from my own branch. And somebody is coming from you, which quit from me and from his or her own branch. And that's how the churches are spread all over the world. And that is why now
exactly what I'm saying.
we are messing up.
Purpose.
We are messing up because at the end, nobody finds himself in spirituality. We just find ourselves in religion, lack of spirituality. We are empty. We are lost.
Come back to the origins. That's where you're gonna find the purpose.
So we're going now to the origin. Now, when I'm going to the origin, everybody have to take his origin because we have our root. I as an African, I'm going back to my origin.
Yes, I mean it is political, it is economical. I have to cite a lot of what Thomas is saying because the reality is what we see. We see here in Europe where we stand, we see priests who are rich. We know the wealth that is into the church here, and we also know how the church in Africa is so different from what we see here. Our priests, I mean, let's say Catholic priests, those who follow the Roman church, we know how they actually suffer. If you go into our villages and you see how our priests live, they are practically beggars because they live from the charity of people, and then they become like they ask money to their folks. Here in Europe, a priest is a salary, a worker. He has a car. They are well off here. So that difference even in treatment about the Roman Catholic Church in Europe and the Roman Catholic Church in Africa makes it questionable. Are we really the same under God?
But then the other way around exists as well. Go and take evangelical pastors, go and take Protestant pastors, whatsoever. Do you believe it? The richest ones, I think the first 5 ones are African. And when I say African, it's Nigeria or it's not South Africa.
Yes.
It's Nigeria. Yes. It's 4 countries.
You are right.
It's like
yes. Now, when you look the pastors and the priests and the popes, when you look, when I say it's political, it's more of a political than spirituality because they have a vital role to play in the politics in the world. The only place you can't touch in the world is the church. And there is no politician who can strike the church. And this church, they have a very vital and great role in the politics of every country. When something happens here in Malta, once the church is involved, everything comes down. Because one, they have the finance. You cannot control someone who have the finance. Yeah. I think that's the richest association in the world. Is the church.
That is where, again, I come in with the more moderate view because you said the only thing that we cannot touch in the world is the church. I would say yes and no. If it's a real church, which is under the power of God, yes, I agree. We cannot touch it because it's directly under the protection of God. But if it's a church that has finances and whatsoever, really and truly, I would say remove the finances and you can do whatever you want with the church.
That is what I'm telling you. The church, they have the finance, they have the population in their hands. Yeah. If they say they want to come against the government today, they are going to come against the government. One, they have the population who believes in them. They have the finance to finance their campaign and whatsoever they want, and they have the finance also to put whosoever they want in power.
Maybe,
and they have in politics, they also have those who are representing them in that politics. In that table, they have those who are sitting there for them.
In Africa.
Even in Africa, everywhere.
In Africa?
Yes.
In Africa now, Thomas, excuse me. In Africa,
I will quote you an example. I can quote you in Africa recently, like what is happening in the northwest and southwest region of Cameroon. We have the military went to the church, shoot a pastor, shoot a Christian, and the moderator of the PCC, or the Presbyterian Church of Cameroon, defends the military. What is he doing? Defending their interests.
It's not defending the politics interest, not the church interest. Let's make it very clear.
It's the church interest.
So the church,
I don't agree because
the
they
church
will
in
be
Africa,
protecting themselves actually as politicians.
the church in
That's why
Africa,
you
That's
see
why
what
I'm
I'm telling
saying
you.
they're all in
Thomas,
bed.
That is why
together.
I'm telling you that this government invests in them.
Thomas, the church in
Yes.
Africa, the church in Africa now is not the Catholic Roman Church. The church in Africa now is those new churches coming from the US with big money. There's the problem of the church now that people have realized that actually the Roman Catholic Church used to have the money, and that money is in Europe. Now, let us take the other side, that is the Protestant or the evangelical, the way it is done in America. So let us build churches like as businesses, and that's actually killing now our people in Africa. It's not, maybe the Roman Catholic Church has done a harm because they have washed brain people, telling them that wait, pray and everything will happen to you. Don't fight for your rights, forgive everything. That forgiveness as well,
You need to define forgiveness.
yes, okay, yes. But the thing is that many people take literally what is written on the Bible, because also there's a lot of lack of education. People don't question what is written on the Bible. It is like, Granny, it is written that if you slap me here, I will not accept that someone slaps me and then I don't give back. That is not okay. But if you read it literally, that's how a lot of Africans believe, and that's how we were taught.
That's where I say
Isn't it that?
wrong teaching, wrong doctrine,
Yes.
because they were self-serving. They did not teach it to make the people grow spiritually. They teach it so the people do not turn against them.
And
that's where I have a problem.
And that's the problem.
That's
why I
now
call-
exactly.
We have to lead to the
Yes,
closure,
yes,
because
yes. Yes, that's
But,
exactly.
I mean, that's why I say come back to the original. Basically.
What is the original thing? If the purpose was to wipe out their image, then where was the original thing? It means that they have the original thing, which was their purpose of religion. Now we have to go back. That's why I'm telling you, we have to stress our root, because even there are many things because of this religion. We don't even have a good educational system in Africa because of this same religion. We have been stuck in a kind of religion where we don't think, we only remember. Yeah, we don't think, we only remember. Because thinking is different from, you can refresh to think, because we do cram work because we want to pass an exam. But we don't think how we can manufacture this thing. We don't think how we can manufacture a computer. We don't think about any other thing. We only remember how to become a specialist to speak. The only thing we know how to speak. Imagine you went to school, you're going to study cockroach,
Become parrots.
grasshopper. That's what kind of education when children in the Western world, they're in primary school, they are teaching how to, they can manage to fix phones, microphones, they can do those things.
There is a problem in our education, yes, and then religion. Maybe
that's why I'm telling you,
religion
because
has a big responsibility upon that.
Religion have 80% of the destruction in Africa, and now there's another part that's coming, the mainstream media.
Yes, but not spirituality, because maybe that's
really
why I agree with Lorraine.
Is it really religion? I don't think it's really religion. I think it's deeper. I think it's the fact that people want to submit. I mean, the people in power, I'm saying, want to submit the population under them, like sort of squash them. So to me, religion has nothing to do with that, because they already have the will to have people become their slaves.
But they are allowing all those religions to mushroom in Africa, because you woke up this morning, you create your own religion, you're in your bedroom, and then you go in, and we see the abuses on land, and there is no accountability. There's no.
That's my
these
point.
people,
I mean,
these people,
I mean, if you are, I will use a polite word, an idiot, and then tomorrow you decide to create a church, or let's say you're a selfish person, you are dreaming to have slaves at home, sex slaves or whatsoever, and then tomorrow you decide to create a church, and then you start teaching that doctrine and whatsoever. Does that mean you're a religious person? No. In my opinion, no. It's not because you have a church that you're Christian. It's not because you have a church that you're religious.
Totally agree.
So that's why I'm saying I don't agree when you guys say religion has 80%. I think you said it. 80% of responsibility. I would say no. It is the wickedness, the self-serving personality of people that is at the origin
But
of
why?
the corruption.
No, Lorraine, excuse me, but why?
The
And
corruption.
what
Why do
tool are they
go?
using?
What do exactly? What do they're using
Religion.
religion? But
That's
why?
the tool. It's not the
But
cause.
why are they using
It's-
religion?
it's the cause.
Because the powers have allowed this.
That is why I told you it is. You will come at the conclusion that it is political, because the power formulate this creation. I want to ask you a question: why these people, if they have good intention for the Africans, why didn't them make books for free, like how to build a phone or to build a computer or how to manufacture this thing, and give it to schools in Africa for free?
That's
Why
a
would
very
they be
good
given?
question.
Why would they be given Bibles for
Bibles,
free?
yes, we were
What do we
given a
have to
lot
do
of
with
Bibles all the time.
If you can have more than 10 Bibles, they will give you for free,
Yeah.
because they know that that's where you're going to submit. They know that that's where you are stuck. But if they give you those things, they need them. That's why they allow the things with them, and they have to give you. Now, listen. When you arrive, somebody will go to a university.
But again,
You have up to master's degree when you arrive in Europe. In the Western world, what are they going to ask you? My first question they asked me in my job site, the first job I got was, "What can you do?"
it depends in countries.
No,
It depends in countries.
you listen.
In
Every
Malta, they can ask you that question. Try and go in French-speaking countries. You tell me they ask you that question, and then I would really be surprised.
no, they ask you that's the question. What can you do?
In what country did they ask me that?
Here, now I'm asking you, what can you do? Because they want to know your productivity. Not they don't ask you what you study, what degree you have. We schooled in Africa to have degrees, but here the school is not about degrees; it's about what you know.
I believe it's a cultural thing, basically the difference
Yes,
between
yes.
French-speaking system and English-speaking system. In the French-speaking system, I used to be living in one for years, basically.
Yes.
They would ask you, what degrees do you have? They don't care if actually you are hands-on on the job, if you're actually skilled. They want to know if you have passed with, I don't know, a bachelor or whatsoever engineering degrees. And maybe after that you show them their degree, you can discuss, because it's not even sure that you have a job. But
Yes.
the English speaking system is the way you said it.
That is why you see in France is in the world. There's no country who is good in politics like France.
Yes.
France is more looking to those who can speak, those who can convince.
And actually, that's why they don't go away from Africa. because
That's why if you look, France is he's the one dividing Africa, because he knows the politics, he knows the manipulation, he knows how to talk, he knows how to change things.
Can I suggest that we
Yes.
wrap up this argument because we'll never end it ever. It is so used actually, but it is also great. I believe and I know we know that religion is killing Africa now. After diseases, after wars, after colonization, after slavery, now it is religion that is destroying Africa, because those mushrooms that are spreading all over the place are already so damaging. Young girls who marriages are being destroyed because women, before taking any decision and at home, they must ask the pastor. Let me go and ask my pastor, who is that pastor? 2 years ago the man was unemployed, selling in the market, and
He's
2
still
years later,
unemployed, by the way.
yes,
Still
he's so unemployed, getting paid by people. So yeah, I think that maybe we should
An unemployed person living like a CEO.
living like a CEO, exactly.
Professional unemployed, we call them.
When you have problems, they send you to God, and when they have problems, they come to you.
They come to, yes, that's exactly.
We need to denounce that.
We need. I think that apart from the spirituality topic, it's very deep, because that's something that we have within. Or there are people who don't believe in God, but yes, there is something always that we feel, we know it. So it is a topic that is so deep that we cannot exhaust it. But as for the religion, I believe that we have to come back here to just discuss about how can we, talk about this situation in our society to our young brother. And then I appreciate what you're doing on social media with trying to highlight the points about this issue. Thank you, Lorraine. Do you want to conclude this show? Because
Yes, sure. I mean,
yes.
as a conclusion, I would really encourage people to use their discernment, basically. Use your brain to decide if this or this is good for you, if you have good results with this or not. whether it's spiritualism or whatsoever. I mean, I think this applies on everything. So, um, obviously, I would also encourage you listeners to give us your point of view. I mean, do you see any other um, how can I say aspect, apart from the monotheism or the spirituality in Africa, like animism, like the cult of our ancestors and stuff like that. Please let us know because I am really curious to see what you think about it, and maybe we can even have another show about it.
Yes.
Yes, as we're marching to the end of it, the show. Yeah, I'm waiting for your replies to know. The views of everyone counts. We like no one have the monopoly of reasoning. We just have to give collective support to make sure we have at the end we have a solution of the topic. And I'm sure we'll be right back.
Yes, sure. Okay, thank you so much for following us, and we remind you that we are present on all social media on africanmediamalta.com. Bye for now.